don't have the right resource in terms of land, then you're a non-starter. But I hope we are able to do the math, and we are able. I mean, we've tried, and I'm sure we all have tried something, and it's failed. Thinking we have a lot of water, and somewhere along the way you realize, it is not enough. People with boreholes and wells, there is something we call test pumping of boreholes. We do that. We do test pump. Once you drill a borehole, we test pump it to determine what is your yield. Because I know most boreholes across here will be yielding about 10, 12 cubic per hour. And then we only abstract about 70% of that. So the pump we give you will not give you 12 cubes. If the borehole is tested as 12, we'll give you 70% to avoid overpumping that borehole. Yeah? And to avoid exhausting your reservoir within a short time. That is to make sure that your borehole lasts very long. So we abstract 70%, and you've got 100 acres. That gives you about 9 cubic. You need to work under crop. But there are a few things, a few tricks about water utilization and management that I like to talk about when I'm speaking to farmers like you. And the one thing that is very important is, first of all, you know how much water you have, you know how much land you want to cover, but then the management of that water determines your success rate. The one thing you need to be aware of is, first of all, the technology. I want to specifically mention drip irrigation as one of the best methods of applying water through irrigation. We have sprinkler irrigation. I'm sure you've seen sprinklers. We've got some sprinklers here, lots of sprinklers. This sprinkler, and you've seen them, it covers the entire ground, yeah, and it uses about 40 to 50% more water than drip. So drip conserves water. Drip irrigation will conserve your water. We have other systems, other methods. Of course, tulitoka ile mambo ya basin and flood irrigation and kufungulia canal and furrows, because that is very wasteful. You're basically flooding your farm with pests and diseases, uncontrollable. So drip will apply water directly at the crop base. And so any area that does not require to be irrigated is left dry. So the technology of properly utilizing the water. Number 2 is proper sizing and design of the equipment, because you may have drip, but then if your system is not optimally designed to apply water uniformly across a farm, then you are still not efficient. We talk about irrigation system efficiencies, with drip being the highest, sprinkler and center pivots and all that coming second, and other systems further down the line. Irrigation with drip can attain efficiency of up to 95-97% if it is well designed. I've seen drip field where someone calls a plumber. You call a plumber, they have no idea how much what pipe size can carry, 5 cubic or 10 cubic per hour or whatever, and they just install a system. You find drip line ameweka ya 70 meters at its gravity, so mwisho maji haifiki, si ndio? Pipe ameweka pipe ya 32 1 inch ama 25 mm, maji yendi mpaka mwisho, so you can't uniformly water your field. So the system sizing and optimal equipment sizing is very key if you want to attain efficiencies. And a lot of times we've been called to correct anomalies and poor system designs which have been installed, because someone wanted to cut costs by taking the local village plumber to install an irrigation system for them. It is important you get it right, because this equipment don't come cheap. If you get a plumber, they install for you a system that is not right, it will cost you again to correct that. And in the meantime, because you have a crop, you've probably lost it. Yeah, so it's important. The number 3 thing is, and I think we all agree, water is never enough. We always need more. We need more and more, so that we can expand. There's what we call, there are technologies that try to utilize water efficiently. Like if you have really scarce water and you can see, I'm in the middle of the season, my water is running out, and the crop has another 1.5 months to go. And at this rate, I cannot see the end of this because I only have this much. This crop is going to fail. There are technologies that have been researched on since the 90s. There is one we call the PRD, partial root zone drying. I'm sure some of you might have heard of it. It is very effective, and that is like applying water on part of the root mass. Oh yeah, by the way, if you tukinyamaza kidogo, there's water going into this tank. You can hear that. That's solar energy, filling the tank. So we'll see that. So partial root zone drying or partial root mass irrigation is a way of using like half. Of course, you water like half the root zone and leave the other root zone to dry. This is a method that has been researched on and the results are quite good. You know, it doesn't compromise the output. End of the day, you might have a little yield cut or yield reduction, but you won't lose a crop. It's like applying half of the water or irrigating half of the root mass. There are various other methods that we will be talking about them as we continue interaction, and that we can talk about when you come to our offices. But the other number 4 important thing is automation. Automation of systems. Automation ensures, now imagine this farm here is not automated because it's a small farm. Of course, automation also comes at a cost. And that's why we have the digital engineering solutions. We've got automation solutions for every system, every product. Automation ensures precision of application and proper utilization, because we do a lot of automation in most of the irrigation systems that we install. And it's usually an irrigation controller that controls zone 1, 2, 3, 4 up to zone 12 or zone 14 or zone 50, and you set the irrigation time for each zone, and the controller will do that for you. The flip side of that is having 10 guys opening valves, and the guy opens a valve, he's supposed to open it for 20 minutes, and he runs to the shop and comes back after 1 hour. So that place is over irrigated. You spend up more than 4 or 5 times the water you are supposed to utilize there, and it's wasteful. It's wastage basically, and we are trying to conserve the same water. So with irrigation of automation of irrigation systems, we're able to conserve water. These are a few tips about water conservation, and there are many more. We can talk about these over and over. You know, there are so many methods, but I'm just giving you the tips about what we do and what is practical. Automation is one of them. I want to quickly mention about. I think I've touched on water management, conservation, best practices. Yeah, you have a system, and then you don't carry out maintenance of such a system. We know it's basically a plumbing system with pipes, and it's a lattice work of pipes and drip and other equipment that are prone to mechanical damage. Now, a lot of times you find leakages. Leakages are very, very serious inefficiencies in water use. Now, those have to be taken care of with immediate effect the moment they are noticed, because leakages lead to water loss, they lead to inefficient application, and it deprives of some areas of very essential water. So leakages have to be sorted immediately. System flushing and cleaning. There are components of the system that have to be cleaned or flushed. If you're using chemical or fertilizer application equipment, after applying fertilizers, it's always recommended that you flush your system with clean water. If you have a filter, filters, remember, are supposed to protect the drip lines from clogging by trapping the dirt and the sediments before the water goes into the pipeline and eventually into the drip systems. Filters have to be maintained, cleaned, and the frequency also determines, is determined by what the quality of the water is. Filters are very key, and they are very important components of the system. They have to be maintained, they have to be cleaned, and periodically and very frequently monitored. What are the other practices? Yeah, drip lines, of course, and irrigation equipment need proper care after at the end of the harvest season, or when the crop is harvested. When you preparing the land for the next season, to avoid a lot of mechanical damage, whatever can be removed from the field has to be removed, stored carefully before the next season. So some of the practices that, and you'll see this very practically when we get to the field. Those are some of the practices, some of the good practices that we need to carry out on farms. Now, I'll talk about the benefits of solar in irrigation farming. This week, last Tuesday, about 4 days ago, we had a Twitter discussion on Tuesday. I don't know whether anyone followed. It was 8 p.m. last Tuesday. And the same day I sat down and did an analogy, a comparison between an engine pump using petrol on an acre of land and a solar pump. Almost similar in terms of output, irrigating 1 acre. So engine pump, petrol, and we sell all of them, by the way. We sell engine pumps, we sell diesel, petrol, and we also sell solar. So depending on what you would want, where you would want to start as you grow towards solar, we have all the solutions. So I did some math for an engine pump. The engine pump costs about $300. It's about 30,000 shillings with the foot valve, suction pipe, and the whole assembly. And the fuel would be another $800 over the growing period with 75 irrigation days. That came to $1,100, $1,100 for 3 months. And then I compared that with the solar pump. With the solar pump, the inverter, the panels, and everything. The investment for that was $1,440. The difference was only $300 one season. With solar, the investment is one-off. Yeah? Maintenance is minimal. Replacement is minimal. So we don't expect recurring expenditure within the short term. Fuel pump, the engine pump, petrol, another season of 3 months, you'll spend another $890. That's recurring, plus maintenance of the pump. Of course, it breaks down. So there's a huge saving with solar, and this is on an acre. Now, if you scale it up to a larger area, say 10, 20, 50 acres, the saving would even be greater because of the economies of scale. Of course, the equipment, the initial investment is much higher, but the saving in the long run is enormous. So they are not comparable, and especially the rising cost of fuel every day, and the tax tunakatwa hiyo SHIF tunakatwa hii mwezi. Yeah, so the cost of life is increasing, and it's painful to realize, farmers are grappling with costs that they are not able to sustain. So sustainability in farming systems is very key to your success. Because of the expense involved in these products and these services, we also came up with a system that's called Paygo Solutions. And I want Ken to talk about this. Ken, please. Paygo is a method of buying equipment. I don't know much about it, but please, Ken, talk about Paygo, and what is the other one? Daily Bahaba. Ken will talk about this. Thank you, and I will take a pause as Ken talks about this, and then we'll wait for direction from Caleb on the next course of action, the next step, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Ombo. So as there's a young man there, can't remember where he is, ameenda kaka place ingine, and obviously one of the biggest hindrances of starting up on something sometimes is just the finances, you know. And right now we're being raided left, right, and center. The 1,000 shillings that you had in your pocket, but there is now not 1,000 shillings. It's already been taken up by something else. So if you want, that one, what is like your dream car? What is like your dream car? I hope you're not driving one.
No, I'm not driving my dream car yet.
Oh, you're not driving your dream car yet?
Defender.
Defender. Probably a lot of money. You know? Yeah, which sometimes we obviously don't have. But if you want to be able, if you want to enjoy what you have, what you want to have, you start have to start saving for it. But then if you want to enjoy it now, it's either you live next to a bank and you can rob it, or you can find a way of being able to have negotiated payments. So that's why there are things like loans which actually help a lot. And so Davis&Shirtliff was one of the things that I said is that we offer quality solutions. And we've looked into partnerships with banks. We have a partnership ongoing with Standard Chartered, with Equity. We also have one with National Bank, and they do offer. What happens is that if you come to us and you'd like help with a certain payment, then we can go to forward. You can actually just go to the bank, give them the quotation, and they can go to finance you. But then what we found out is that customers would also like help from us, because like he said, he's a stockist, right? And so what we have is that we have solutions that actually even help not just our end customers, but even our business partners, the stockists, the technicians, the service providers who work for us. And the very first one that we came up with is Paygo. It's called Delipa Paygo, and it's actually what Caleb has on his farm. It's a very simple solution, and what it does is that this is a solar pump, which will also be able to show you how it looks like pale nje. And what it does is that if you want, you get a panel, you get several panels, you get an inverter, and then you get the pump. And so that's the whole complete kit. And the very basic one that we have allows you to be able to pump around 6,000 liters of water in a day. The next one, 10,000, the next one 12, and then the very biggest one that you have pumps, you get 20,000 liters of water in a day. But then this is why it's actually the best, and probably Caleb can attest to it. How many of us have heard of M-Copper? Ama you have ama you uko na kitu pengine you have a phone from Safaricom that unalipa pole pole. How do they function? At the end of the day wanakukata pesa, si ndio? At the end of every day, they just chop off your money if you've used it or you've not used it. The same way with a car. If you've bought a car if you've used a loan, whether you use the car ama imeko kwako kwa garage au umeweka kwa bedroom uko unaiangalia kila siku, they'll still come and chop off your money. But then now with this Paygo solution, what we do is that you only pay for the water that you use. So if you buy the water, which we just give you an application for you to be able to buy the water, then that's how you actually pay us. So if you don't use it, then it's kind of like you're not going to pay us. But then since you've bought the solution and you're going to be needing to buy water, then that's how you pay us. But then you're also not going to pay us perpetually. It's until you're actually able to pay for the entire equipment. So you actually are just paying when unafanya na tokens za KPLC. Okay? So that's how you actually pay. So you come to us, we go to your farm, as Wambua said, we do a site survey, we're able to establish which